kind of what is the role of historic Rock Hill in preserving that history and legacy?
Yeah, well, Joel, that's probably my favorite question. I appreciate you asking that one. Those of us who are in town, and is with your service on the county council, we are all watching York County and Rock Hill transform right in front of our eyes. Mm-hmm. I mean, transform more than we could have, any of us who've been here all our lives could ever imagine. And when that happens, every community, every city, every town, they have their own unique story. And Rock Hill in York County has a unique story. And if we're not careful to make sure that story is preserved and the truth is told, so to speak, this transformation that we're watching, we could lose that story. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's real important that we get to celebrate our history and all the great things that's happened.
What's your fear if that's lost? What's your fear? Like, what's the consequence if we lose that?
Well, the consequence in my mind is that if history can tend to repeat itself.
Yeah.
And we go back and look at time and our times and trials and tribulations, successes and failures, and all those things that's happened is kind of paved the path of where we are today. I think telling the story of a community in itself is interesting and can be very entertaining. But it's also important that if it's not told, then something can repeat itself. Something else can happen that we would think we should have learned or known better than that.
Yeah, and I think maybe there's a little bit of perception that the historic Rock Hill kind of is the White Home and vice versa. Yeah. What's the role of the organization beyond being a caretaker of that historical property?
And that's another important question. I'm glad you brought that out because we have, since 2010 or 2005, when we acquired the White Home, historic Rock Hill has become synonymous with the White Home.
Right. For better and worse, right? It's an iconic piece of property, just absolutely beautiful.
But it's taken away from stories that need to be told when we're spending all our resources to keep up an old house.
Yeah.
Now we would need to celebrate and keep up this old house, but there's so many other stories to be told. Stephen Turner is a good example. He's on our board. We're blessed to have him. He thought he was going to retire and go off into the sunset.
Little did he know.
Yeah. But we roped him and we got him involved. But he's very passionate about the African American community and what's going on, and stories that need to be that are told, and stories that I didn't know about the Freedom Riders and the Friendship Nine and the whole civil rights era that happened right here in Rock Hill. Was just as a powerful, impactful place than anywhere else in the country is right here in our town. And he's making sure that story's going to be told, and we got lots of exciting ideas on the docket with that.
There's just countless stories and cool little bits of trivia to learn when you start kind of digging into the history of this area.